day for Yard Card Supply. It is our 1 year anniversary.
Whose anniversary?
Ours.
Get out of here.
Today was the day our Facebook group began.
So what's the anniversary like? What?
One year in business, hustling hard. Yeah.
Oh my God, that's incredible. Uh-oh.
Here comes the crew. Oh, pumpkin.
Oh my gosh, I'm so upset. Talk to me.
You want to blow my candle out for me?
Hold on, Jinger.
Oh.
Yay, good job. That and vodka.
There it is. We did it.
Yay.
We're officially here. Okay.
Okay.
So let's do the donut thing again. I want to show everybody what I have. I have to go first because I'm the host, okay?
Okay.
All right. So I want everybody to know that I got a maple donut bacon one, all right? And I'm thinking when we get halfway through this thing, we'll stop for a little halftime and we'll try them out and we'll do a little taste test. What do we think?
Okay. Sounds great.
All right, Vanessa, you got the Denver Bronco one, and Ginger, you got a whole 6-pack.
Yeah, I'm a pretty classic kind of chick. These are glazed donuts from Publix, and if you've never had a Publix glazed donut, take Krispy Kreme and throw it in the garbage. This is where it's at.
Wow, you're gonna
they've got like the big chew of a Dunkin' Donuts, like that big size, and then they're soft and super sweet like the Krispy Kreme. So it's like Krispy Kreme and Dunkin' Donuts had a baby, and this is what happened.
And you got 6 of them. Are you having friends come on over or what?
I have 3 children.
Yes.
So
you do.
there was literally like, don't touch those until after 9, and they're like, we'll be in bed. I said, perfect.
My wife is so mad at me because my son ate. I got 3 of them. My son ate 2, and then I told my son not to give this one to my wife, and she's like legit mad. If she comes in here, she's gonna hit me.
Sounds like a wife thing.
Right? Does that sound like a wife thing? All right. Well, how many people we got here? We got
53.
We got 31. We got 53 registered. Look at that. Okay. So this is going to be sort of like a different format than what we've been doing before. What we've been doing before, I don't know if you've seen any of our live streams, but we try to get people together who've done stuff with like maybe Google Business. We had Kelly Hawkins. She was on the program. She shared with us how she just bought like a regular printer, like a HP printer, and she can put out flare, and she spray paints, or she puts some, I think it's not varnish, but she sprays it so it's a little bit more waterproof. So we're trying to have these live streams be like a little bit of fun, a little bit of education. Tonight it's just all fun. So we're not talking education stuff here, okay?
All right. You never know what kind of tips and tricks we might throw out there for you guys.
Listen, I got the bag this weekend. I got the box.
Yay!
All right.
Yes,
so
I do.
I don't want to talk about it right now because I want everybody to wait for it, but I'm super excited. Like,
okay.
They look incredible.
Thank you.
All right. So today's anniversary day. So I'm going to throw it out to either one of you, and I have a little insight because Vanessa and I had chatted when you were being super responsible earlier on this week and said you had a 2:00 call. So we connected a little bit afterwards, and she kind of gave me a little bit of an update on how you guys kind of met. But how did you guys get introduced to each other, and who introduced who first? Like, give me the lowdown.
Vanessa's a stalker. Go ahead, Vanessa.
Sorry, it really is. So I started Yard Card about 2 years ago, and when I have franchises all around me, what is this glitter stuff? What is this shiny stuff? I need it, and I can't find it. And so my husband dreamed up this dream, and he said, "Hey, I've got my CNC machine. I can make these. Let's make these. Let's use a vinyl cutter to make them," which you and I were talking about. It's like, oh yeah, that's gonna be easy.
Fine. No problem.
I'm a cricket. I can do this, right? Like I was like, I can do this in my sleep. And then we started doing it. And it was like, oh, that's a lot harder than I thought. And so then he dreamed up, hey, I can make these cool stencils, and you can put weights on them, and you can spray paint them. Like, it'll work. And, we did it for a while. And, I joked that our marriage was tense for a few months while we were like, really nice spray painting letters. There was no parameters on it. You told us you wanted pink, green, gold, and yellow. All right, we did it. It was no rhyme or reason. So I was pulling my hair out, and I'm like, there's got to be a better way. And I am married to a computer genius and geek all at the same time. And he said, let's dig into this. So we did. We learned the process. We dug into it. And I'm chugging along and I'm printing for a few of these people I've met in the yard card world, and I'm happy and I'm doing it. And I come across Jinger, this funny lady that's always chiming in on these Facebook pages. And I'm like,
how did you come across her? Did you come across her on Facebook?
I did.
Was she making like a rude comment, or was she providing some kind of insight?
She was just, we were both on a different vendor's webpage or Facebook, and she would chime in. And so one day I just reached out to her and I said, hey, tell me about you, right? Like, because
just give me all your information. Got it.
She talked some graphic stuff, and I was like, huh. And to be completely honest, it was kind of a God thing. We messaged a little bit. She sent me some candle images, and I told my husband, I like this chick. I think I want to talk to her more. I want to talk about what I'm doing. I think that, we could take this to a different level. And he's like, don't tell her. Don't do that. And I'm like, no, like, I really think I want to talk to her more about this. Like, you're busy doing your full-time thing, and like, I'm doing this and I'm running with it, but like, I need another brain. And this lady's creative, man.
Right.
So I kind of, fished a little, like, hey, we should talk, This chick over here, she ghosted me.
What?
8 solid weeks.
8 weeks she ghosted you?
Yeah.
No, you didn't.
And it was so much. My husband was like, see, it wasn't meant to be. I told you. And I was like, I swear God was like pushing me towards this lady, and she just like a huge tractor beam came down and said, call this woman, and you did, and she get ghosted.
Yeah.
All right, so
it all started with some birthday candles. Go ahead.
So I got to ask you. So you have Vanessa reach out to you. Obviously, she says something that's like, hey, let's connect. And you're like, what? You're like, no.
I honestly just thought she was trying to sell me something. Because she was like, I make letters and this is the font. And I was like, well, I already have letters. I don't want to change fonts.
Right.
And we started talking about everything because of a birthday candle. And I had cut it out with my Cricut. I had cut out the vinyl, laid it, da 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 da. And she's like, how did you do that? I was like, oh, well, you need an SVG, EPS, blah, blah, blah. And I was speaking vector graphic. And she's like, oh, vector. And I was like, I do know vector. And she's like, okay. What do you think about a pumpkin? Could you make a pumpkin? And I was like, so I sketched some pumpkins. I was like this? Yeah. Okay. So then I turned it into a vector graphic and sent it to her. And then she was like, but these letters. And I was like, yeah, I'm good. And that was August. And then it was 8 weeks before I was like, okay, let's talk. Like,
all right, so
tell
Vanessa,
me. Yep.
Did she hit you back again a couple times? Did she get a little obsessive, or was she patient?
Vanessa?
Yeah, I might have like chimed in, but I think it just kind of like, I kind of was like, whatever, like, lost cause.
Yeah, right. Like, we just, like, you sent that proposal. If it's not going to come through, it's not going to come through.
Yep. That was basically it. And we were just, I think what tipped the scales for me was I was contributing. Vanessa and I both believe that the information that we have and the talent that we have and everything else is a gift from God, and it's not ours to keep. It's something that we're supposed to share with everybody else, whether it's how we take appointments, what payment system we use, what our terms of, all of that information is not ours to keep. Plus, you can go on my website and see it, so it's not a secret. And we were contributing to other groups in that manner where people said, how do you set up? What time do you set up? So on and so forth. And I had designed some big numbers. They were 30 inches tall. They had polka dots on them. I sent my original artwork to the vendor. They sent me my numbers back $650 later. And then the next day they posted what I had designed for sale to the public. I was like, and that's when I was done. And that's what made me say, okay, tell me what you got going on. Because I was so, I felt very violated.
Were you irate?
I was livid. Taking somebody's original artwork, and especially when it's in your terms and conditions that, they can't do that and then they do it anyway. Yeah, that's a quick way to lose a customer.
All right, so you're fuming, right? You spent $650. You go back to the website the next day, and you're like, "Oh my God, I want to kill somebody."
That's my artwork.
I need my artwork. I need to call Vanessa. Is that what happens?
Basically, what I told him was because Yeah. Well, and that's when there was only really 2 options for yard carters. 3, there was one independent printer. There was one that did the big like block letters. That's what I actually had. I had solid color block letters.
Okay.
And then there was another one, but they didn't listen to customer requests and everything else. And then when this happened, I was like, I am done with you. And so therefore, if I'm done, I have to find an alternative way to get my cute stuff.
Wow. So then I love it. I absolutely love it. So now you call back Vanessa and you tell her what just happened. Okay.
Yep.
So Vanessa, you're thinking Ginger's totally ghosted you, right?
Yeah.
And so like when she called, did you know that like it was a Florida like area code and you're like, this is odd, or did you just pick it up and there she was?
We had never talked on the phone. We were Facebook messaging this whole time. So then she was like, let's talk. And I was like, okay, all right. And Ginger loves face-to-face communication. So we call, and then she's like, I'm going to FaceTime you. And I'm like, oh, okay, let's get real personal here. Lady that's ghosted me for 8 whole weeks. And then we start talking, and like Ginger's favorite word is squirrels and butterflies. And like, she was like, oh, you were for real. I really was. And like the squirrels and butterflies, like if I could have seen Ginger's brain at that time, she was just like, boo, 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 boo. She was so excited. And it was like, okay. And we had a very similar experience. And so that it was funny because she'd started it before me a bit and bought an existing company. But when we were just talking and squirreling and butterflying, it was like, man, getting started was so hard because unless you're in a franchise, nobody wants to talk to you and nobody wants to. Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of us experienced that. And so Ginger was like, we need a Facebook group. And I was like, okay. You know, and that's where the dream of that is like, let's have a group that's truly about like a community of collaboration because I called people, probably 10 people. Nobody wanted to talk to me. One person said, hey, I'll help you for $5,000. And I was like, oh, okay. All right.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah, it's stupid. It's stupid.
Who do you buy letters from? Like, you know, where did you know, just general, like nobody wants to tell me.
And then when you figure out that everybody's buying their stuff from the same, like 3 people at that time, it's like, so wait a minute, I'm going to pay you $5,000 to tell me what I could have Googled myself. No. And that was and is still one of our huge foundations is the fact that yes, we're printers, but first we're yard carters. I was up at 5 o'clock in the morning, putting out a yard card for the freaking Hornet cheerleaders. I've got one tomorrow morning. It's in my truck right now. At the end of the day, we are yard carters. And so we're still out there putting stakes in the ground, figuring it out, building stands. Vanessa yard cards in the snow. I yard card in tropical storms and hurricanes. We are doing the same business that our clients are. And what we found was the huge vacuum. It wasn't just in this, right? It wasn't just in cute stuff that you put in people's yards. It was a knowledge vacuum and this obsession of, well, I can't tell you what I know because then you're going to steal my customers. I live in my, it's stupid.
Yeah.
It's stupid. In my neighborhood alone, there are 500 houses. I could not, even with my ridiculous inventory, I could not yard card every house in my neighborhood if they all wanted one on the same day. There's always something to celebrate. There's always someone who needs the service. Share your knowledge, have a good relationship with the people in your area, be professional, be true to your word, and you're going to build an industry that just continues with reciprocal business and revenue over and over and over again because of word of mouth. If I can't do it, Susie can. If Susie can't do it, Joey can. If Joey can't do it, Sam can. And we're going to take care of you. Because I know at the height of COVID, I was so slammed busy that I had to turn people away. And my fear was if every time they call me, I'm sold out, they're just going to stop calling.
Right.
And so I reached out to 3 different women within 15 minutes of me and said, listen, you need to start a yard card company here. You need to start one there and you need to start one over there. One, because I can't drive that far anymore with this amount of work. And 2, people there need encouragement too. People there need to see happy birthday and welcome baby. And the world was just yuck, Ben.
Oh, I know.
And they've all started and they're doing great. They're doing great. But so yeah, rewinding back to Facebook, we started our Facebook group, and our Facebook group's name is not Yard Card Supply. It's Yard Card Business Support and Supply. Because we wanted to provide business support services and really help people develop their small business or their cottage industry or their hobby business into a sustainable source of income for their family.
Now, was that the first thing, like before you guys even started printing, that was the first place you guys went?
Vanessa was already printing.
I've been printing for about 4 months. I had about 4 or 5 awesome people that took a leap with me because we were all kind of feeling the same thing of like, how do we compete? I couldn't find glitter. I couldn't find what I wanted. And so then as we were dreaming, and it was like, let's start with the Facebook group. Let's start there and let's start building that. And let's build that collaboration because I'm not an expert. I mean, I am some days. I may know what I'm talking about. And then you may ask me something and I'm like, I can tell you a lot about snow, and then we could get a blizzard, and I may know nothing about snow. I mean, and so that dream was, man, let's build this out and let everybody be a part of it, and let everybody give a piece of the pie to it, or a piece of the puzzle, so that we're all working together. Man, I'm like, let's work smarter, not harder, and it's growth.
All right, so hold on one second. So you start the private Facebook group, and I love the title. I think it's epic, and so. Now what starts happening? I mean, because if we're in the beginning of COVID, right? And like me, for example, I bought all my stuff in November. And, I was working a full-time job. And this was supposed to be something that my wife was going to do on the side. Like, how hard could it be? You put a stake in the ground and it's easy, right? So we didn't sell anything for 2 months. As a matter of fact, I gave a sign away and then the next door neighbor bought one. That was the only thing I sold. But then as soon as COVID came, I did a Facebook ad, and I was off to the races like 4 or 5 hours in the car, right? So like you guys decided, you made the decision to start a private Facebook group, but you started the private Facebook group because you wanted to have a resource for people to actually come and learn more about the business?
Yes.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we did.
We offered printing, but we have people, and then we do today that don't buy anything printing from us, and that's okay. It was the collaboration piece, but it was cool. I mean, we maybe started with 20 people, and they just started coming, and we just constantly were praying, like, bring the right people to us. In all honesty, we were small, we were little, we could message back and forth. We started with this whole concept of DIY. You tell me what graphics you want, or send me graphics, and we'll go back and forth, and we'll piece it together. And you tell me exactly what size you want. So if you want this 15.75 high, you tell me. And it was not sustainable, but at the time,
it was not.
Little. We had goals of paying. Ginger wanted to pay her car payment, and Vanessa wanted to pay her student loan payment. We were like, hey, like we'll think big, but we'll start with some like attainable goals,
right?
And go from there. And it was, we
okay.
Ideas.
So you have the group, and now you're saying, hey, group, ask me questions that you have. What is it that you need? And now they're telling you, right? Mm-hmm. And both of you are saying, how do we solve that problem? And we need to figure that out right now.
Mm-hmm.
We were letting people, like, if you wanted to print your kids' school logos, like, it was a lot of emailing back and forth. There wasn't like a website that you went to and said, click, 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 click. It was like, I look at it now and like,
it was like, do you have a cheerleader? And we're like, sure. How about this one? Well, not that one. Okay. How about this one? No, I want her like with their pom-poms. And you're like, okay. But at that point, it was not a big deal for us to take 3 to 5 days to format an order, get everything nested, send it off to print. That was normal, and it was fine because it wasn't COVID. But once we started kind of standardizing our system of how we did things, how we sent proofs, our turnaround started getting faster. The faster our turnaround got, the more customers we gained. But a few things that we established early on in our Facebook group was, number one, you had to conduct yourself with courtesy and professional. Yeah. If you had criticism to give someone, that was fine, but you're going to do it in a constructive manner. You can ask a question. It can be the same question. Why did you pick blue letters? And but it's amazing the tone that will come through a keyboard. You know, why would you pick blue letters for a girl? Some girls like blue, right? So, and it's just, we wanted our group to be I don't like the term, but a safe place for people to ask questions and gain knowledge. We routinely did weekly videos where, you know, I would literally say, this is a steak. This is a 6x30 steak. This is a 10x30 steak. This is a single steak. I showed people how to put the steaks in there. Vanessa went outside and showed people how to put things in the ground. How we do the stacked layers, angled letters, none of this information existed. None of it.
And they didn't know what coroplast was. I mean, yard carding was giant in Texas. It was definitely a thing in Florida, but it didn't exist in a lot of states. So I mean, you were showing people, you were like, these are called flutes.
Yes. Like the flutes are vertical, not horizontal. Yeah.
You were having to spell it out.
So and what's funny is we still have those conversations today. We call them discovery calls. You can schedule a call with myself or Vanessa. Sheila grabs the phone. She gets you on the calendar with us, and we'll spend anywhere from 20 minutes to 2 hours explaining the business, what you can expect, revenue streams, pricing, all of it. Yep. Right, for $0.
Wow. Okay, so let me set up some time with you on the phone. We'll go through the whole thing with you. You're free of charge. As I share with you what you need to do, these are the things that you should consider. And then at the end, they say, great. And then they say, I need something printed.
Mm-hmm.
They come back to you.
Yeah. Yeah. Invest in the customer and they will be loyal to you. We have never been like I don't know if you noticed on your page, but like people say, where did you get that? And I won't answer. I'm not going to say yardcardsupply.com. I'm not going to go on somebody else's Facebook group and try to sell myself or sell my product. Instead, I would rather invest in the members that are there, answer the questions that they have. I've been doing this for years now. Give them the knowledge that I had to learn the hard way, you know, like stabbing my fingers with stakes and all kinds of stuff, like wear gloves, wear muck boots. So like here in Florida, I'm not worried about snow. I'm worried about snakes. Oh, it's always great in the dark. You don't know if there's a mamba coming over your foot or something, but it's those little pieces of knowledge. Like make sure somebody knows where you're going when you're going to do your deliveries. If you deliver at night, explaining why I decided to shift my delivery time from evening to morning. Giving people that information. Knowledge is power. I'm not telling them what to do, but we give them the foundational information they need to make an informed decision.
Yes.
I don't care who you buy your starter kit from. We have a great one, right? It's very affordable. We made everything wholesale. But what I want you to ask is, how many pieces are in it? How many greetings can I do? What is this made of? Where is it printed? Do I get stakes with it? Do I not? How long does it take to get here? Those are the things you should be asking before you just give somebody your money.
I couldn't agree with you more. I could not agree with you more. This isn't although it can be, this isn't you're not buying a shirt or a skirt at Target, right? Like this is a decision that you're going to make that, is going to have impact. And I've been seeing a lot of people are like, I'm in the balloon business. I'm in this. And then they spend, I don't know, let's just call it $1,000 on something. They do it for 2 days and they're like, I have never been so sore in my entire life. You know what I mean? Like my knees don't do that. Why didn't somebody do it hard?
Yeah.
It's unfortunate. And that's been our biggest thing is like trying to be transparent. Like it's beautiful. They look fun. They look happy. People do great jobs all over the country. But it doesn't mean that they weren't. You just didn't see the work they did to put it up. You saw the beautiful happy birthday with balloons and stars and cupcakes and dancers and mermaids. But it still took somebody some effort, and they had to pull all that stuff the night before or that day and get everything ready and drive there. And it is effort. It's not just like free money.
It's work.
No, it's not. It is work. It is work.
Listen, you're not laying bricks, right? You're not on the jackhammer, jackhammering asphalt. But you know what? If you get that. Right? If you get a rock at someone's yard, I've never sworn so much in one moment trying to get the stake into the ground because the rock will move, right? And listen, I don't know about you, but when I get in that situation, I literally want to say to myself, you know what? I'm out. I'm out. It says in my contract. I'm out of here. Figure it out. You know what I mean? Sorry, right? But then I say to myself, what if Jordan, she's not going to have a surprise anymore?
Her birthday.
You know what I mean? And I just can't. I avoid from knowing that girls are. For me, it's like you got to grind through it. Get it done. You just got to make it.
You can't take away somebody's birthday because there's a rock in the air.
No, you can't.
I think
Or
the funniest one.
Our wins, and I literally at one point am like laying across all my flares so it doesn't blow away. So you can kind of like grab it all, put it back in the box, and run it to my car. And I was taking one thing out of the time. Like, dear God. And then my dad, who helps me, he does some of my setups. I called him and I was like, I'm going to need some reinforcements. It comes with wire and, stakes that you would use on edging. And I mean, my poor kids that pick up tonight, I was like, how was that pickup? And he was like, it was really in the ground. I was like, oh, yeah.
No, I get it. And you know what I love about most of this is that, like, when you are working with somebody, if they understand, like, we're speaking the same language. Like, sharing with somebody that it sucks to put in a yard sign when you can't say, I'm out. Like, I can't do it. So, you have to fight through it. And, I mean, I had a woman, quick story, I had a woman call me and say, do you have availability? And I was like, no, I don't. So, the first time I said no. Plus, she lived in Denver, North Carolina, which was like 40 minutes away from me. So I'm like, no, I'm busy. Okay. And then someone else sent a reservation request, happened to be at the same address. I was like, is she trying to reserve this thing again? So I looked at the area code and it was a 516 area code. I know that's a New Yorker. So I pick up the phone, I call him, I'm like, hey, do you live at this address? She's like, no, I don't. As a matter of fact, I'm reaching out to you because she called me. I make cupcakes in the local area and I do like party events, and she is beside herself. Here's what she said. She says her son has Asperger's and doesn't have doesn't have any friends, and this is COVID, and he needs a sign. Like, can you help me? I'm like, yeah. Now I will help you. Yes, right. So you get this call, and then I'm talking to this woman on the phone. I'm like, hey, how good are these cookies? And she's like, well, listen, when you come install it, I'll leave some on my porch because I live in the same neighborhood, right? So, well, this is a true story. So I'm going to this install knowing that I'm installing a sign for someone who desperately needs it. It's like 30-mile-an-hour winds, right? Like, I'm putting this in the ground. And I know you can appreciate this, Vanessa. I have like Marmot waterproof, gear on, like I'm in a hurricane. It's like the ski gear that you wear, right? Like you're buckled in. So I have all this gear, and I'm putting the stake in, and I'm going, I don't want to do this. And then I look up and I see her looking at me, right? I see her looking at me. So I was like, I got to pound this through. And then I literally say this. I say, if I lose all my stuff, I'm going to be totally okay. It doesn't matter, right? So I put them all on the ground. I drive home, and as I'm driving home, I'm like, I think I'm in a hurricane. Like, this is really bad. Anyway, the next day, she sends my wife a text, and she says this. She says, the sign was incredible, and my son hugged me for 30 seconds. Right? So, like, when you think about someone who has Asperger's doesn't want to be touched. Right? Doesn't want to be touched at all. And you could tell that simple sign of joy completely impacted her in a way that she never thought. And that's why you do it, right? That's why I say I can't say no. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I have more of those stories, Zeb. I really do. I think
that's one of the most beautiful things about our industry is that we all have a story like that where we wanted to say no. We were tired. We were stressed. We had other jobs, our kids, whatever. But in that moment, something inside you, we like to say the Holy Spirit says, go do it. Right. Because we don't know all the stories behind why they're getting a yard card that day. We just know that mom reached out.
Yes.
There was lots of options to reach out to, and she chose you. And it's that opportunity to put service before self,
Yes.
take care of the customer, bring joy, because it's not just the kid that sees happy birthday. It's every neighbor that drives by that's having a bad day and they go, oh, that's nice.
Oh, happy birthday.
Even if just for a moment, they're having the worst day, they're frustrated, they're driving to work, didn't get their coffee, kid puked, dog pooped, everything's bad. You're driving down the street, happy birthday, Johnny. Oh, that's nice. And you smile for a second, and then you can go back to being grumpy. But for a second, you see something joyful in the world. And in such a disruptive and crazy time as we live in right now, what a gift it is to share encouragement and happiness and celebration literally every day, and we get paid for it.
You paid for it.
We get paid for it. Like,
I want you to celebrate my kid's birthday, and I'll pay you. What? Right,
every day.
That's a home run. Total
now,
home.
I will say this. I do want to encourage people to say no to certain things. Ready?
Yes.
If somebody asks you for an inventory item that you don't have and their order is within 2 days, tell them you don't have it. Say, hey, I don't
You're
have.
only going to use it because it's so random and bizarre. You're going to use it once.
I had a mom ask me for a welder. Her son was a welder. She wanted me to put a welder in the sign. And I was like, I am never going to use that again, ever. Right? It's not a turtle. It's a welder. Okay. And so I said, you know what? I can do that for you. It's going to be an additional $45, but you can keep the welder.
Touchdown.
Right? Touchdown. She was like, oh, I love it. So she paid the extra $45. I ordered some accents. I threw the welder on there. She got to keep the welder. I was the hero of the day, and I didn't get stuck with a welder that I paid for and will never use again. But I want to go back to the saying no. Okay. So Vanessa and I, very early on, we had a saying with each other, and it was called train the customer. Train your customer, train your customer, train your customer.
And what this Vanessa didn't train the customer, Vanessa said, oh, if you call me at 10 o'clock, okay, I'll do one more. And Ginger came on and said, girlfriend, you need some boundaries. And I was like, I know, but...
Two-letter word, no.
No is so powerful. People don't know what the difference say now.
It's amazing. But so what I want to talk to your viewers about is training their actual rental customer. Okay, so we've all heard the phrase under promise, over deliver, right? Manage expectations. And what you're doing in this instance is you're training the customer. I know that a lot of your followers, they are DIYers. They love creating things with their own hands. Have reasonable expectations for yourself and communicate those to your end user. So what that means is if you tell me 4 different things that your child is interested in, I'm going to represent 2 of them. I'm not going to represent all 4 because number 1, I may not have it in my inventory. Number 2, there might not be enough room. And number 3, if I guarantee all of it and it ends up I can only do 3, now you're disappointed.
Totally.
But if I train my customer that, hey, I will recognize at least 2 of the interests that you share with me. I will represent your child or the recipient's favorite color. Those are 2 things I will commit to. Everything else is based on my inventory and availability. Don't promise the world unless you have it in your hand. And none of us, every graphic ever created in our personal inventory right now. If you do, rock on. The other thing
that I'm like, are you serious? We don't have another S in this color. No.
Yeah,
like,
right. And then the other thing I want to encourage your DIYers, because Vanessa and I were both DIYers. I made candles with my hands, pumpkins.
Yes.
I have a freaking creeper head outside that I made by myself. Remember that the one thing that you are truly expending when you're DIYing is time.
Yes.
Time is time is time. If you are spending 4, 5, 6 days sketching artwork, loading that artwork into a system to create stencils or prints, weeding, pulling, putting your transfer tape on, getting everything on there, pushing all the bubbles out. You're spending 4 days creating this piece of art, and it's only going to be used once. Even if you only paid yourself $15 an hour, how much money did you just invest in that one piece? It's not just the cost of your materials. It's also the cost of your time and the value of your time. So be prudent with that. Make sure that you evaluate the situation and say, okay, can I do this with a simple design? How elaborate does it have to be? How many times have I gotten a request for this thing? For me, if I haven't been asked for it 3 times, I don't invest in it.
So smart.
But I do have 500 unicorns.
Right. Why wouldn't
I have
you?
a crap ton of unicorns in my garage.
Well, because at the height of this running, and not only were we trying to like do our yard card supply business, and really, I mean, we did not have a website when the pandemic hit. We were running off Facebook, and we were like, we got to get this website done, but we were busy, right? We're busy. We both have 3 kids. We're like momming. We're busy, and then the pandemic hit, and we're like, oh shoot, we got to get a website like yesterday. Oh shoot. I have 10 orders tomorrow. How many orders are you getting now? Oh no, like
Yeah.
You know.
I would be delivering for 4 hours at night, come home, process orders, pass out, wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning, go deliver because I'd have like 8 to 10 orders. So I do 4 or 5 at night and then 4 or 5 in the morning. And then I'd have to go pick up the ones from the night to go put up.
Yes.
Yeah. Time.
I say it all the time. Like, listen, how much are you worth? And if you're worth $100 an hour and it takes you 8 hours to deliver a sign, you're not making $100 an hour. You're just not. And the travel time, all that stuff. All right, well, listen, let's get into some donuts and then we'll get into another topic.
Okay.
All right. Who's going to go first? You want me to go first?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
All right, so I got the maple brown sugar bacon donut. I got to tell you guys, I did some bacon videos with my kids. I'll have to show you where they are. They're incredible, where I just made bacon and we ate them all the time. So I'm going after it, okay?
Yep. Oh my gosh, that's a big bite. I think that donut might break the 3-finger rule. Have you guys heard the 3-finger rule about hamburgers?
No.
So apparently, I watch way too much Food Network. I'm a little obsessed. But I was watching the Guy Fieri or whatever, and he was talking about the 3-finger rule for a hamburger is that most people can't open their mouth more than 3 fingers. So your burger should never be bigger than that because you can't get your mouth around it.
Get out of here.
What is that?
I know that almost breaks that rule.
I don't unhinge my jaw to get that in my mouth.
Right? My oldest child has a hippo face. He can
All right, you're up. I got to get a napkin. Hold on.
Oh, me. Okay. All right, guys, this is my plain old, look at that.
Wait, let's see.
Look at this sucker.
So traditional.
Nice.
Yeah, I like traditional classics, y'all. And I'm a pincher because I want to show you how beautiful the cake is. Look.
Nice.
So, all about the details.
Okay. I switched over because I gave part of my child the Bronco one. So this is now the rainbow. Bribery, she pounded through the door in the midst of this.
She did. But that was straight up, give me that donut or I will scream all over this video.
So we have chocolate people in my house, 100%.
She came in upset. She was pouting.
Oh, yeah. She needs mom nonstop. It's fun. It's fun.
Great. I love that. Let's see it.
But there's a littler one. That was the middle one, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's good.
Then there's a little baby Zilla who walks around singing.
Mm-hmm.
Frozen songs.
I love it. I love all the magic. I don't know what I'll do when my kids leave. There'll be no magic.
I just talked to the girl in the mirror.
Right.
My thing is, when you're the one that brings the magic, how do you actually make your kids' yard card magical when your kids are like, Mom, I don't want to go pick up a yard card. I gotta up the magic times for my kids. I've got this awesome yard carder in the Denver area. I love her. Her name's Dottie. She does balloons too. So I'm like, hey, I need some help because my kids don't think yard cards are cool. And I'm gonna put one up because they're my kids, but I gotta up my game a little bit here. Can we add some balloons to my world?
Oh my God, I love this donut.
I love this donut. The other thing, I take my kids too, but my kids leave my door open. So at 12 o'clock at night on a Saturday night,
your car's filled with bugs.
Flying by my truck and smashed my door because my kid left it wide open right in the middle of the road. Yeah, that's what happened to me. Yeah.
So that brings us to why you need commercial insurance.
Right. Well, here's the other thing too. The other thing that I didn't know, my brother-in-law owns a landscaping business. And when we were having, dinner or whatever one night, I told him about that. And he was like, did you have orange cones out? I was like, no. He said, if you have orange cones out, you're not liable because people should see them. So if you put out orange cones, then you're not liable. So now I have orange cones.
Wow.
There you go. There you learn something. But now, I like the insurance. I like the insurance thing, but
I can talk about insurance if you want.
No, let's talk about something else.
Insurance isn't fun.
No, it's not.
We have a great, by the way, guys, we have a great post on commercial insurance on our website, which is yardcardsupply.com. Just click on the blog link. We had a great professional development call with Kelsey Che of State Farm, and we had so many people flood State Farm requesting commercial insurance that they actually created a category for yard carding. It didn't exist before.
Well, I'm listening to my viewers, and they're like, let's talk about insurance. So you're up. Go for it.
Okay. All right, guys. So in regards to insurance, there's a couple things that you want to consider with commercial insurance. Number one, the simple fact that you are driving your vehicle for business purposes. And what you want to remember is, I'm a safe driver. I'm good. If somebody hits me, I'm okay. You're absolutely right. But in the event that something happens where you hit somebody else, if they find out that you were in motion because of business, they can now go after your business. So that's one area that insurance is going to cover you. Another one is the simple fact that every single time you put up a yard card, you are on somebody else's private property. So you incur risk every time you step out of your car and onto their property, whether it's a sprinkler line that malfunctions, a car that got scratched, a dog runs out and bites somebody. All of these little variables and issues are things that your insurance agent's going to cover. In addition to that, most of us work from our homes. I don't know many yard carders that are operating their yard card business out of an office place. So if you have your inventory in your garage like I do, like Vanessa does, Rennick, where's yours?
Yeah, of course.
Garage. It's only covered up until a certain amount. If you don't have an inventory of your inventory of all your stuff that's out there, you need a full inventory. It has to be separately insured. You have to be able to show the space that you're using. The other thing that I know State Farm covers us, they cover all of my intellectual property on my systems. I actually have 3 computers in my office. All of that is covered. Should there be a malfunction, they'll actually reimburse me the revenue lost from that day. So commercial insurance is much more robust than your normal homeowners or your normal auto insurance. It covers a lot more. And then as your income increases,
with commercial insurance, it'll cover all of your stuff. What she was talking about is home insurance will only cover a certain amount of your inventory. Right. Commercial will.
And if your house burns down, they're not replacing your yard cards because they're going to say that wasn't on your homeowners. That's not covered. We're not replacing it.
And the problem I ran into before we brought Kelsey into the picture to just chat with her, because Kelsey's in Florida, she can't be my insurance agent, obviously, but is like I've gone to a couple insurance agents and they're like, I don't know that you can insure that. I don't know how to insure it. They didn't know the right insurance code. I mean, it took someone really doing some digging because they have to code it, and they weren't really sure how to classify us because we're kind of like a bounce house, but we're kind of not. There's all these ifs, ands, and buts that come with it.
Yeah, we don't have the same inherent risks as the amusement rentals. So whether it be a bounce house or even a popcorn machine. Popcorn machine is hot and people can get burned and other people are operating it. With yard cards, we tell them, don't move them. Don't take them out of the grass. I will do all of that. And as soon as they touch them, they violated the terms and conditions of the contract.
Right.
What Kelsey had to do
is Ginger. I maybe paid $300 for the year or something like that. It was cheap.
Oh yeah, it's not expensive at all.
It was like $300.
Wow.
If there's 2 things you're going to do as a yard carder, number one, officially establish your business. I don't care if you do it as a sole proprietor, an LLC, whatever. Do not be running underneath Don't be like, oh, I'm going to do it under the table until I make this much so that, I don't have to pay. Don't do that. Have integrity, do the right thing, be a business. 1, be a business. 2, get insurance. That's it. Don't get a website first. Don't worry about your terms and conditions. Don't worry about what I'm going to price this at. Register yourself as a business. Go get insurance. If you need somebody to talk to, you can call Kelsey. Kelsey's here in north of Jacksonville, Florida, and she will refer you to another agent in your area. And she'll do that, what we call the warm turnover, where she says, hey, this is a yard carder. This is how I have my yard carders classified. This is what State Farm recommends. Move forward. Yeah. But in insurance, guys, I mean, you could be walking from your vehicle to put something up and scratch somebody's car. Right. Not on purpose, but you could scratch somebody's car. Somebody could trip and fall. We have a video of somebody doing a slip and slide through a yard cart. The guy was absolutely wasted and did a belly slide through the yard carts. Fortunately, he didn't get injured. But could you imagine if he had sliced himself open on the steel or any of the cards?
Mark asked if they cover liability. Does the State Farm policy cover liability insurance?
Yes, it has. I think I have a $5 million general liability.
Yeah, that's a second one.
Sorry?
$300 a year?
Mm-hmm. Commercial insurance is not priced the same as personal insurance, simply because we're held by laws and local ordinance and all of that good stuff.
Well, and the crazy thing is we had Kelsey come on. We talked to Kelsey. I was in Florida. I met Kelsey. She's great. Awesome. I come home from Florida and I'm leaving one day and I'm like, my parents actually live about a mile away from me in my same development area. So I was picking up my mom and I'm like, damn, that's some smoke on my side of the neighborhood. And I'm like, what is that? Not even trying to be the nosy neighbor. I'm like, is my house on fire, right? So I start driving over. It was my neighbor's house 5 houses down. They had a propane leak in their garage. They had like a little grill for their camper. And then one of the bottles was leaking. And I can't remember what they said. Something ignited it, torched their whole garage and half of their house. And I was like, that right there. And I put a picture up in our Facebook group. I said, it happens. Like, that's such a random little propane leak. They would have never guessed, Never. It was like, get your insurance, because that would have been somebody's entire business. Like, it would have been awful.
That's a great suggestion. I mean, I've been doing this for a long time, and I have a hold harmless clause in my contract, which says that if you sign this, right, you're going to hold me like harmless of anything. Mm-hmm. I don't have insurance like you're talking about. And I'm correct. I'm glad to say that. I think now that it's probably the right time to do that.
Correct, because it's not just when you're on somebody else's property. It's driving there and back. It's the movement of your materials. It's the protection of, like, if your computer dies and you can't check your reservations, you can't get back with clients, you can't advertise on Facebook, that's lost revenue. And my policy covers all of that. The other thing they supply to business owners is it's basically like the what if plan. What if you're sick and you can't deliver? Who's your backup? Who's your backup's backup? If you want to go on vacation, guys, who's going to deliver the yard card for Johnny's birthday? If you're in Texas and relaxing, what's the backup plan? What is your contingency? Yep. Insurance is the risk mitigation business. That's what they do.
So let me ask you this question. So, Vanessa, you said that when you talk to State Farm, that they're like, I don't even no idea where I'm a State Farm guy. So I have State Farm. So could I call my State Farm agent, and if he's like, I've never heard of this, can I say, you need to call so-and-so in Denver or so-and-so in Florida?
Yes, you need to call Kelsey Shea. Kelsey Shea at State Farm. She is a broker. She has her own agency. I will warn her that we just did this to her again.
Oh my God.
Renee,
Yeah.
I have some friends that
Jinger and Vanessa told me to call you specifically, and it didn't matter what time. All right, Kelsey, go ahead.
I had some friends that sold insurance or whatever. They didn't do commercial. They were like, oh, someone in my company does commercial. I went through 3 different people that sold plans for a bunch of insurance companies, and they could not. They were like, well, it could be coded as this, but this. And I was just like, are we like, I was frustrated. I was just like, okay, I'm gonna walk away from this. And then it came up, Ginger brought up one day, and I was like, do you know what a pain this insurance thing is? Like, I threw my hands up there. I'm over it. I had an attorney read my terms and conditions because I just wanted to make sure I had some coverage. And I kind of walked away from it. She's like, no, I had someone that worked through the kinks with me. So, so
Kelsey's kind of the us of yard cards.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's a bulldog on a bone. She's like, oh, I'm going to get this policy written. I share glass with her. She's right next door, so I could be like, come over here, let's have a donut, and you could talk punch.
Oh, yeah, we got to do that. We absolutely got to do that.
Yeah, it would not be the first time. She did like a 2-hour-long Zoom with us. It was great.
Oh, my God.
Whoever did my policy was like, this was easy, because I literally was like, Kelsey emailed her, and they called me, and I was like, whatever Kelsey says, please just do.
Kelsey's in charge. Just whatever she says, do it. It doesn't matter how it is. We love her.
Because what my attorney told me was we worded our terms and conditions well. Like, he worked with me to like make them strong, but he's like, people like to sue, and people could pick these apart. It could go, if someone wanted to go to mediation or whatever, it would come down to like what the mediator said. So he's like, it's not 100% like full.
And guys, right? a hold harmless. Hold harmless means if you went there, you did exactly what you were supposed to do. Nothing unforeseen happened. Everything went like clockwork, and then you picked it up. They can't do anything.
Right.
But if you were to leave a stake in their grass and their kid was running and stepped on it, you're no longer covered by your hold harmless, because part of your terms and conditions is that you remove all materials. So you leave one stake in the yard, you're outside of your terms and conditions. That's you have to look at everything like worst case scenario. What bad could happen? What innocent mistake could I make that actually hurt somebody? Because it's the unintended consequences of good intentions.
I honestly I know some people are like, when they set up yard cards, they send them up, with a big gap in between. Some people set them up really close. I don't set them up right on top of each other, but I don't do a real wide gap because I don't want kids running through there. Because the biggest issue I had when I first started doing it, well, yeah, they were scary when I first started doing it. I look back at those pictures and I'm all, oh, right? We all had those where you're like, we didn't have beautiful guides that these guys have when they get on the Facebook page and they're like, oh, this is how you do it, right? We're just like shooting in the dark. But I would leave the gap, and I would see parents would send me a picture or whatever, or a video, and the kid would be running between them like, oh, in the elementary school, like liability alarms are going off. And I'm like, oh. So I always that was one of my things. Like, everybody has their own style, and waiting for me, it was like, I don't want your kid playing in the middle of my signs, like
running in between.
Oh Lord, it would be ugly.
Like, I see people put the selfie frames like right dead in the middle of the display, and I'm like put that over there. Put it over there. You're gonna run over something and get hurt. And I don't even care about them like bending one of my signs. Like, that's replaceable. We actually had a story, again, by yard carders for yard carders. Somebody said, hey, could you guys round the end of your stars? Right? And we were like, and they're like, we know it's guaranteed revenue for you when our stars get bent, but could you just round the ends of them so they last a little longer? And someone told us a story about the son of a franchise owner was running around in the garage, and he got a star right in the eyeball.
Get out of here.
Yeah. And she told the franchise, you guys can take this stuff. I don't want it. He's permanently blind in that eye. And it kind of manipulated number one, the way I look at my yard cards. Number two, the way we design. We round the edges on things for safety. We tell people, don't let your kids run around the garage. You got space everywhere. Yeah.
We did in the beginning. I mean, that's part of when we tell people we're always improving and learning as we go. That's it. Didn't even think about it in the beginning. Honestly, for me, my little edges getting bent didn't really bother me. I just kind of flattened them out when I went out, and I didn't think anything of it. And so it was one of those man, give us your feedback, because I didn't think about that. I mean, I once heard somebody say someone could get hurt on that, and I was like, oh, whatever,
So like this.
Yeah.
When we originally designed these, they're super pointy on the ends. They just come up like a freaking ice pick. And so we went and we rounded all of them so that at the least you won't get a puncture wound from your Coro. Like Mark said, yeah, Coro cuts can happen. You think a paper cut's bad?
Yeah.
Wow, that is
You can slice them like Coro.
I'm thinking about my scars. I round them just because it's easier, right? And to your point, but I didn't know that this stuff could be liable. I mean, like now,
my friend had her 1-year-old in my garage, and I was dying. I'm like, could you please? I'm like, I love your child. He's adorable. Please take him out of my garage. There's stakes everywhere, and he's like, right.
Look it back. I wear a hazmat suit in the garage.
Well, we just redid our whole organization for that because I have a 20-month-old and she is a pistol right now, man. She is like grabbing and throwing things and like, she's like want to be like, throw things. She's in a mood. And we were out there one day and I have always been a little nervous and we were out there and I was like, oh yeah, no. Like, because when you walk out into our garage, that's where our yard cars were. Like, these need to be on the other side because we have a 4-car garage. I'm like, it's going to the other side, but they're not in her path because it's like, my husband loved me when I was like, hey, we have to redo the garage for like the 100th time.
So can I ask you guys one more question? Listen,
Yeah.
It's 10 o'clock, and I just want to say, I want to be respectful of your time. So if you guys got a blaze, great. If not, I just have to install a sign, so I can stay out as late as I want. So one of the things that I know, Jennifer and I, so Jennifer is concrete sequential, and I'm random abstract, which means we're like water and oil. We just don't mix, right? So what ends up happening is my dynamic was, did you think that was funny, Jennifer? Ginger, you like that?
No, I'm laughing about us. Pinky
Right.
in the brain over here.
Okay, so one of the things that drove me crazy, and it also drove my wife crazy, was we had no inventory tools, right? And I am not an Excel spreadsheet guy. I'm not going to be like, let's pull the A out and mark it off. I'm just not that guy. I can't do it, right? So when we were like super busy, I would tell Jennifer, because she would talk to all the customers, oh, you want black and yellow letters? We can absolutely do that. No problem.
Mm-hmm.
We had 4 installs, and we had 2 that were black, and 1 were red. And so now we have no idea where anything is. And then when I go and install and get it ready for the night before, I'm missing 4 Ys and 3 red A's. So that's how I got to learn how to make this stuff, because I'm not going to tell Bella that I can't come. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So one of the biggest things that we struggled with was, like, we would have all this stuff out there, and then we wouldn't know what we had, and then it would come back, and basically what ends up happening is she wants to get everything that we know is out there first, bring it home, and then go out and install. Where I'm like, put it all in the car, I'll go get it, and then when I get it, I'll inventory it, and I'll go to the next thing. She's like, no, we can't do that. That doesn't work that way. I'm like, what are you talking about? Of course it works that way. Right, Ginger? Are you following me? So, like, the way that my wife's mind works was, it had to be, one thing had to be the next thing, right? It was just sequential. There you go. You're a teacher. So is she, right? So you're shaking your head when I'm telling you about my wife. But Ginger's a lot like me, I think, where you're like, I got to go make this done fast, like now.
I'm not trying to drive to my house twice.
Right, exactly.
If I need the yellow Y and it's at Tommy's on Friday and I need it for, I don't know, Susie on Saturday, it's going to stay at Bobby's. I'll go pick it up and then take it with me to Susie's. All Susie's stuff's in my car. Then everything comes back. Now, I will say this. That is how I used to operate until I got my letter inventory to where I needed it to be, so I didn't have to do that anymore. Now I got somebody else who picks stuff up and they bring it back, and I just go install.
Okay, so my question to you is when you guys were doing it in the when you're crazy, did you do it in Excel spreadsheets, or did you wing it, or oh my God.
It's all up here.
We tried the Excel spreadsheets. My husband is a spreadsheet junkie. Ginger can tell you that. He loves his spreadsheets.
Yes, he does.
I remember the first night, man. I had if I was doing 20 to 30 a month pre-COVID, I was happy. Like,
not even 20, 30. I should say 10 to 20 a month pre-COVID. I was like, yeah, we're good, right?
Yeah.
2 a week was making me happy. So then I remember like all of a sudden I'm like, oh my gosh, we have 5. We have 5 in one day, you know, and I'm like so excited, right? And I'm doing exactly what you said. And I'm like trying to kind of figure it out. And I'm like going to this house and I'm thumbing through all the stuff I just picked up to try to organize to go to the next one. And I remember I was just like about to have a heart attack. And I try to be so quiet too. So I'm like, I'm dying inside. I'm like home and I'm like, never again. Like there's so much stuff in my car. It's unorganized. I can't function in it. And like that night we were like, we got to change how we do it. My husband was just looking at me like, you're insane. Like, I was just like, he's like, it's okay. And I was like, no, it's not. I'm like,
oh no,
right.
she also had it to where they filled out a contact form and then she called them and talked to them. This woman cannot say no to anyone. She called them and talked to them and then she would invoice them. And then she would wait for them to pay the invoice. Meanwhile, she's watching the clock because she's got to go install their sign. And I'm going, she's like, you don't do that? I'm like, oh, they pay online. Like, I don't talk to anybody. I send them a text. I'm on my way.
You can't do until the thing that you need to get done. You can't do the next thing. Oh my God, you are exactly like my wife.
I don't know where she is, but she's right there for me.
Oh my God, I can't. No, like
So here was my solution. I'm gonna tell you my solution.
Okay, yeah, we need your solution.
In order to get around this, because I couldn't do that, it is very black and white. I'm a teacher, and I love these 2 twin boys I had, and their parents became our good buddies. And so they're my redheaded twins. They're 17-year-olds that go pick up my yard cards. Love them. And so they go pick up, bring everything back, and they put my stuff away. I pay them to do that. Then I pull after they get done for the next day, and that's when we switch to morning deliveries. So then I had everything in. They put it away, and then I start the process over because I'm just
morning
like
deliveries are a bomb.com, dude.
So wait a minute. So you don't do 24-hour deliveries then?
No,
Not in the morning, and then you pick it up at night.
they're up by 7:30 at the latest. We start at 5, and then by 7:30, and then the boys pick up when it's getting dark. During COVID, it didn't really matter when everybody, like the height when everyone was home. Like, if we picked up at 4:30 or 5, they were happy. Now we leave until about 6:30.
Yeah.
So that's
I don't. I do a full day.
So you do a 24-hour?
But sometimes it's longer because I forget to pick it up.
So, but for like, have you ever not wanted to pick one up and been like, hey, do you mind if we keep it there an extra 24 hours?
Oh no. Okay. So here's a confession story, guys. Here's a confession story. So I'm sitting in my garage with my amazing friend Sheila, and we are pulling for the next day because at that point, somebody asked on average how many do we do. My average is 3 a night. Right now, I'm down to about 1 a night just because with Thanksgiving coming up, people get distracted. So you're going to get a lot more last minute orders. Just FYI for the holidays, they go, oh crap.
This is normal.
Yeah. Be prepared. There's a normal slowdown between November and January because people are focused on other things. They're focused on Halloween, Thanksgiving, shopping, Christmas, Kwanzaa, Diwali, all of the things. They're everything else. They're focused elsewhere. So I put up. We're sitting here pulling, and I can't find my blue 2, or my blue happy birthday flash, or my blue balloons. And I look at Sheila and I go, what's the last blue birthday we did? And we both start looking through our phones because we take a picture. Guys, so here's the other thing. Everybody thinks we take pictures for the client. You're not taking pictures for the client. You're taking pictures for you. So you can remember where you left something. Also, you remember what you dropped off if it got stolen so you can replace it. The picture is for you, not for the client. You just send it to them out of courtesy to say you can come out of your house now. Anyway, so we looked through the phone. It was a good 7 days.
No.
We had to go through. And I'm like, oh my God. I was like, oh my God. So I called, and fortunately, it was one of my neighbors, and I called her, and I'm like, hi. So yeah, I'm like, I'm so embarrassed. She goes like, what's up? I go, please tell me that I did not leave a yard card at your house for a week. And she's like, oh yeah, it's our favorite game in the morning. Is the yard card still here? And I'm like, why didn't you call me? She's like, because my 2-year-old loves seeing his name in the yard. And I was like, okay, I have to come get it because I need all the blue things.
Oh, that is so great.
She's like, don't worry, we've taken like 100 pictures. You can.
Oh my God. I've done it too. I did it for 4 days, the whole weekend. Like, are you going to come pick up your sign? You're like, no, we already did. You're like, no, here's a picture. It's in my yard. You're like, sorry. So
My bad.
but back to the question. So you guys, in the beginning, you don't use any software. You don't use any Excel spreadsheet. You're like, I'm going to keep it in my head and you're good.
I also, I formatted my business a little bit differently. I did not offer colored letters for people's names. It gave me the opportunity to build my letter inventory. All I did was black letters for names. It wasn't an option. I did different colors for happy birthday, different colored balloons, everything else. But it allowed me to build my accent inventory.
Yes.
While saving money on my letters. And then I was like, okay, I'm good on my accents for now. Now it's very rare now that I have to go find something. Now let me go ahead and transition into a bigger letter inventory. And I switched from solid black to the black sparkle. And now I've added blue sparkle. I've added purple sparkle. And the way I do it, the way I get people, the way I fund my own inventory, because yes, I still have to pay for my own stuff. When people want the person's name in a different color, they have to pay more. So if you want their name in purple, it's only $15. But guys, that $15 goes towards my letter inventory, and I earmark it as that is not profit, that is not a tip, that goes in the letter column. And then when I hit whatever it is, whether it's $90 or $250 or $700, the next letter investment I need to make, that money is going into the piggy bank. And I look at it and go, okay, I've met my benchmark. I can get this letter set. You can't sit here, guys, and run a business on impulse buys. You can't do it. Just because Susie down the street got the donuts, do you have requests all the time for donuts? No, then don't get the donuts. Right. Number one, make friends with Susie so that you're not both buying the same stuff. Borrow the donuts from her, and then you get the unicorn set, and she borrows the unicorn from you. Be prudent with the gifts that are put into your hands so that you have what you need to invest in your business. And therefore, by investing in your business and having a successful business, you're able to support your family. Don't chase the Joneses. Joneses are not good.
That's such incredible advice. Like, listen, I'm sitting here like wishing that I could say that I thought that stuff too. But the reality is that I don't do that, but now I will, right? The insurance dynamic is certainly a viable one. I don't do it. Now I will, right? So like even doing it for a year, right? Talking with you guys, I'm still, there's no end game here, right? Like you're always learning more, and an outlet where you can do that is vital, absolutely vital.
In the teacher world, we used to always say, like, the day you know it all is the day you need to retire and walk away.
Yes.
It's been really funny to me that, you know, I taught for a decade, got my master's, my whole world is teaching, and now I'm in this whole different realm. And it's like, it's the same story. The day that you think you know everything is the day you need to walk away. I think last week I told you, Rennick, it's like some days I know everything and nothing all at the same time. You can ask me one thing that I'm like, oh yeah, I know all about that. And then I'm like,
got that one.
I'll get back to you on that. We've got a couple questions over here. Zeb,
yeah, let's do that. Let's open this for questions here.
So Zeb, our most popular color is black sparkle. Behind that, Vanessa, I think it's actually teal or gold is probably our next most popular. My most requested colors are blue or purple as a yard carder. From Yard Card Supply, black sparkle is our number one seller.
My most requested color is blue and pink, and I did a lot of what Ginger did too. I did the black alphabet for names, and I added all my color and my happy birthdays. Man, my happy birthdays don't leave those stands. I used to pull those off stands and try to incorporate other places. Man, those live on those stands, and they are always on stands of happy birthday. So I'm not trying to figure out where they are, and that filled the color. I mean, I wish I could like tell people enough. Like, if you have pink and blue, you can begin. You know,
you can make it work. And then Mark, I'll go first on that one. What has surprised me most about the Yard Cards business since June, July? I think I'm going to answer that in two different parts. Number one, I think there's a good surprise when it comes from the individual business owners, the independent business owners. I feel that there is a commonality in the desire to share lessons learned. I have found that no matter what Facebook group I've joined, they want to contribute to the community and share information, help people grow. So that was a good surprise. When it comes to being a vendor and on the production side, I think, unfortunately, the biggest surprise is how many people are driven by individual ambition, and that ambition clouds their integrity or their judgment. And they're novice to running a business, and they don't understand that business ethics also run into legality of intellectual property, licensing rights. I'm always shocked when I see a printer creating materials that they don't have the license.
Yeah.
Not only are they going to get in trouble, they're going to get you in trouble. If you don't have the license to use a specific graphic, I can't take Coke can and put it in a yard card. I don't have the rights to use it. I don't have the rights to use it in digital marketing. I don't have the license, and they can come after me for printing it. They can come after you for using it. And that for me is probably the biggest surprise is people just not understanding the ripple effect of those types of acts.
For me, I gotta reread your question because it was a good one. What surprises me most about the business, it's been interesting, man. When my first time I saw this, knew what yard carding was via Facebook. My friend lived in Texas and she did a yard card for her son, and I was like, oh, well, this is cool, right? Had no idea what it was. What blew me in the way, and I'm going to go back to like July of 2019, was no one wanted to talk or collaborate at all. Nobody seemed interested in, wow, let's grow our industry into something more. Because to be honest, I was so excited that there were other yard carders opening up around me. It was like, man, I'm busting my butt trying to get people to know what a yard card is, because Denver didn't know what yard cards were. We're a giant metropolitan city and we didn't know what yard cards were. And so it to me, it was like, man, it benefits all of us to grow. Just because you're 20 minutes from me, we went to sort of the same area, you're putting them up, I'm putting them up, people are seeing it, they know what it is. And so it blew me away in the beginning that nobody cared about growing the industry. It was like the secret industry.
Right.
I hate to say this because I despise and hate COVID, but like, who could have guessed that COVID would have been the best advertising campaign yard carding around? I mean, what blew my mind post-COVID or in the midst of COVID was how many people I felt like blindly jumped on the ship to become yard carders. And it's something I've heard people say, oh, they just want people to spend money. And I'm like, no, I don't. I want you to go into this educated. I don't want you to see what yard cards are and 2 hours later go drop $2,000. Like, please, like, know that you want to do this. Like, to me, $500 is a big investment. It's your money. It's your hard-earned money. Like, go into it feeling like you know what you're doing. Research before you name your business. There was a big issue that happened, and they trademarked their business name, and then the attorney sent out 150 cease and desist for anything that had the word lawn letters in it. I mean, that was so many yard card companies, and every single one of them got a cease and desist. Like, I felt like I've seen people that have they don't do card my yard, they do card my lawn. Like, be careful, man. You're trudging on some territory of trademarks. Like, so my biggest thing I think that shocked me is just like, do your research, talk to people. I've actually talked to Mark. You do your research. You're looking into it, trying to figure out the best way to get into this. And it's like, do it right. Because kind of like Ginger said, like, I don't want you to get a cease and desist. I don't want you to get a cease and desist and have to rebrand an entire business you did. I don't want you to get a cease and desist and because you used Mickey and now Disney's coming after you, because Disney will come after you. I mean, Dr. Seuss, I mean, Dr. Seuss is brutal.
They're vicious. They'll jump all over you.
And that's their right. It's their intellectual property, but you're like, dude, they're going to come after you and potentially for more than just what your $70, $80, $90 yard card was worth. Like take care of yourself and be smart about it.
Take care of your professional reputation. that you're a company that does it right. And also guys, I'm going to say this, don't worry about losing the job. If somebody says, I want Minnie Mouse and you don't have Minnie Mouse, never compromise your integrity for money. I mean, that's like, we're talking about who you are down to the fiber of your being. Never compromise your integrity. Don't do it. Say, I can do color blocking. I can do this. We can do polka dots. I cannot do Minnie. I don't have the rights to do it. I wanted to answer some of the other questions. Joe said, oh no, I lost you.
No, just scroll back up.
Hold on. Joe said, what if you tell them that it's an extra $15 and they don't like it? Tell them to go fly a kite.
Yeah.
Set your prices, and that's what your prices are. If they ask, why is it more for a different color? I have limited inventory, and in order to reserve those letters for your order, it's an additional $15. If they don't like that, they can have black letters. It's that simple. I think it's Chelsea is actually asking about how do you separate your taxes. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I have an accountant. Okay. So get a business, get insurance, get an accountant, because this is money. For the most part, and then somebody else asked, do you charge taxes? Guys, that depends on what state you're in.
Yep.
Some states require you to charge taxes if you're a service-based industry, some do not. You need to get in touch with your Small Business Development Council. There's one in every state. There's almost one in every county. The Small Business Development Council. You can ask them, hey, I'm just starting out. I need to talk to somebody about whether or not I need to pay taxes. Another option is SCORE. SCORE is business mentoring. It's free mentoring from entrepreneurs and business leaders who sign up to mentor new business owners. Sign up for it. Learn things. If you're a veteran and you haven't gone through the Boots to Business boot camp, you need to call the Small Business Administration and see if you can get into the training. Educate yourself on running a business, not just how to set up a yard card.
Nicole, I will get into that question though, because that is something I ran into, that we used to charge sales tax based on how we invoice the invoicing we used through PayPal. We charged it, and then we moved to a really awesome scheduling program called Acuity. And when I set it up with Square did not give me the opportunity to put in my sales tax rate, and so we just said, okay, we rounded up $5 what we charge, and we said sales tax included. And I just called my accountant and said, how do I do this? And he said, when we pay your taxes monthly, we'll take a percentage out of, your profits. It's pretty easy. So you can do it either way. I have had a few people be like, did your prices change? And I'm like, no, your sales tax is now just included in the price. This is what you pay.
Yeah. So Mark is asking what our most popular flash and flare set is. That is hard to answer. Flash and flare for us is just, those things are.
Our generic ones that just say happy birthday and our color scheme are probably, there's like $500.
I think the primary rainbow is probably the most popular.
Yeah.
Primary rainbow is probably number one, and then bright rainbow. So primary rainbow, if you're ever on our site, primary rainbow is your red, yellow, green, blue, purple, like just strict rainbow. Bright rainbow. Right? Bright rainbow is what we consider the unicorn colors of pink, teal, purple, yellow, and like a sagey green. That's the differentiation of those two. And then let's see what else. Our most popular happy birthday set is the one that you actually did a video on, Rennick, the rainbow happy birthday set. It is the most popular. And also, I've already told Rennick this, so I don't feel bad telling you guys, he switched the H's.
I did.
He switched the H's. The red H goes on the end. The purple H goes in the middle.
I would have no idea. I'm glad you told me.
Yeah. No problem.
Here's the beautiful thing, and this is probably my biggest pet peeve.
No, Vanessa, it's not true on this set. In this set, there is a specific order.
But you know what? If you put the H upside down or not, people aren't going to know.
Yeah, no, not upside down.
How is it? Can you send me a picture of how it's meant to be set up? I don't care how you set it up, man. Your customer doesn't care. They want
happy birthday, right? We're halfway there.
They want their kid honored. They don't know if the H's are mixed up. They don't know if you did the H upside down or the I upside down, man. It's like you're an artist and you get to make it whatever you want. And as a parent, oh man, most of us are parents. We're like, hey, you made my kid feel like $1 million. I don't know.
Like, I didn't have to do it. It's great.
Right. Exactly.
And then I think my last little nugget I want to give you guys is join your local chamber of commerce. It usually costs somewhere between $250 and $500 for your local chamber. But every time they do a grand opening, guess who they're going to ask to do a yard card?
Yes.
This chick, right? And that lets every single one of those business owners know that not only do you do something fun, but you take your business seriously and you take their business seriously. So join the chamber, establish yourself and a reputation for being impeccable with your word, on time, beautiful delivery, professionalism, customer care, and they'll start to see you for the business person you are, not the cute business that you do.
I love it.
Wow. I would say to Mark, I think that's been a big shift in our industry. I think last year I was a cutesy. I was a accessory. I was the social media Instagram mom wants that in their yard. Like I'm now, they take me serious. I'm a business. I have a presence. I've done some cool stuff. I mean, like the schools just like bow down. Like when they couldn't have graduation and we had a way to help honor kids, they were like, we love you and we appreciate you. We're going to shout your name to the rooftops. Like people now see a purpose in it. It's not just a word.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah.
I like it. I like it a lot. I agree. All right, look, we're coming up on 90 minutes. I want to be respectful of your time. And I got to go do a sign. All right.
Oh, you got to go do your yard card. Yeah.
Do yard card. But listen, thank you so much. This has been absolutely awesome. I'll be honest with you. I've actually really learned a lot. And I think it's really important, I do personally, I think it's really important that whoever's watching this and whoever ends up watching this, understand who they're buying from, right? And understand the story behind it, because they're not buying it from just a random manufacturer. The fact that you guys are out there grinding really makes a big difference, because knowing the difference, and we're going to get to this, Ginger, too, with the stuff that you sent me, but understanding those little pieces, listen, makes so much difference in the world. And if I have an opportunity to spend $95 on an HB set that I know is going to be this much more durable or that much more durable, or it's going to be interchangeable with so many different things that I've already bought, listen, that's smart business. And I love it. I really do, guys. I really love it. I think you guys, I'm big fans, but more importantly, I think you understand, and I'm going to call it what I like calling it, the hashtag, the joy business.
Yeah.
Because it isn't, at the end of the day, it isn't about me, right? It's about what I can do for let's call it the greater good. But I need to be responsible while I'm doing all that, because I'm also accountable for what I don't do and what I have to do. And I'm learning that as we go. So, these little nuggets, I mean, they're more than nuggets, man. They're seeds that are going to grow for the people who I really, truly believe want to do the joy business for what it is. Listen, you'll get tired of putting yard signs in people's yards if you just think that it's something that you want to do. But if you love to do it and you know that you have to do it because you're just passionate about it, then it doesn't become a job. It becomes a passion. And I clearly see and hear and all the passion, all of it from both of you. And it's just fantastic. I love it.
Yeah, we're a little crazy.
Thank you so much for giving us this opportunity to be on here. We enjoy it, and we love what you're adding to the yard card community too. It's been fun to watch us grow and how different people have come in here and just really created communities. Collaborative community is like my word. It's my teachery word. We're a collaborative community. It was a great buzzword, but it's what it's become, and it's so cool. It's so cool. Ginger did this corny video the other day where she was pretending to get mad at people, and I was like, oh Lord, what's she get mad about? And she went on about and what she was talking about was highlighting that we had a yard carder get on there and just say she was scared. She was scared about doing her first setup. She was nervous, whatever, and people just poured love into her and poured encouragement into them, and that's what it's about. It's okay to say I had an awful day and everything went wrong, and I love that people are like, me too. I've been there. Hang in there. There will be better days, because majority of these people aren't like, I'm going to get rich off this and I'm going to make these big franchises and I never want to set up a yard card. Majority of these people are like, I'm in this to set up yard cards and be on the ground level, and I love it. We're there to just bring joy, like you said, and I love the communities that have come out of this. So
Thank you for all you're doing, Renee.
You're absolutely welcome. So it's just, I want to plant a seed with you guys. So I think that another great live stream, whenever it ends up being, oh God, do you guys still see me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, hold on. So I just got some message that said like we're shutting you down, but that's not true. So I want to have a live stream where we share stories like the one that I shared with you. Like I think that would be powerful. If you want to do that, I'm prepared to share mine. I've already shared it on YouTube. Full disclosure, I got emotional and I cried because it was that touching. So if you guys want to do that, let's figure out a date and a time when we can, and we'll get ourselves prepared. Is that cool?
I think that sounds great. I think that sounds great. And I would love to actually invite both of our communities to submit stories.
Yes.
And we can share them, and maybe people can see that this is much bigger than just happy birthday.
I love that. And I will commit to doing that on my group too, by the way, which I'm super excited about. So
Rick, they want to know, Mark,
You're enjoying horror stories.
do I have horror stories? Oh my God.
No, that's what Mark said. He said yard card joy and horror stories.
Exactly.
And I just want to thank you, Rennick, just like Vanessa said, for inviting us, letting us tell our story. I think there's a lot of assumptions and presumptions out there about who Yard Card Supply is. We're just two chicks that love yard carding and decided that other people needed cool donuts too. Like that was it. We were able to create the graphics. We are able to make them affordable for our fellow yard carders out there, and that's it. We want to share the joy business. We want to teach the joy business, and we want to supply the joy business. That's it. So thank you to all of your viewers who joined us tonight. If for getting to know us, if you didn't know us before, Ginger, Vanessa, wherever she is, there.
Couple wants to know how they can watch this again.
Yeah. So great question. So what I do is I can download this and then I upload it to my YouTube channel. My YouTube channel is Sign Fairies. Just got to go to Sign Fairies. If you want to subscribe, listen, I got over 100 videos there, okay, about everything that you can think of. A lot of the topics that you guys talked about and even more. How you install a sign on a hill, right?
Yeah.
How you use matrix and how you layer, right? Like, and I'm not saying that I am the be all end all. I'm just giving you my opinion on layering because there's a lot of people who do it better than I do. But this is a repository where people can go and listen. I've gotten like screenshots of my face on someone's 80-inch screen TV saying, "We're watching your stuff right now." You're like, "What? You did that?" Like, you know, it's awesome.
Rennick, that's a lot of Rennick.
It's a lot of Rennick. I couldn't agree with you more. So yes, sign up for the YouTube. So sign up on the YouTube channel, and I will edit this and get it uploaded. If not tomorrow, first thing Tuesday. But ladies, it's been an awesome pleasure. Thank you so much, and we'll reconnect very soon.
Cheers.
Bye, everybody.
Cheers.
Smash down. Smash down. And broadcast.
Bye.